Boy, this beating was brutal. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Cody with his arm in a cast following his bout with Brock at Night of Champions.
Rollins with the heist of the century! Climb the ladder, kid! Make yourself famous!
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Oh, my goodness! He is broken in half!
Iconic moments, unforgettable matches, memories that will last a lifetime. When it comes to professional wrestling, if you are talking about it, we are talking about it. Welcome to the Wrestle Chat Podcast with the Ant-Man.
Here we go, friends. We got another episode of the Wrestle Chat Podcast. Welcome to it. I am the Ant-Man, your host, and this week I am flying solo. Michael is off this week, but he will be back with us next week. Looking forward to that. As this episode drops, we are only a couple of hours away from WWE's Night of Champions premium live event. It's coming to us from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This is a packed show that we're going to preview here in just a little bit. A show that's coming to us at a special time as well, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central. If you're on the West Coast, you're having breakfast and watching this pay-per-view at 10 a.m. I don't know if you eat at 10. I always eat before 10, but nonetheless, that's not the only pay-per-view that's going down this weekend. Sunday night, AEW goes back to where it all began. Double or Nothing, live from Las Vegas' T-Mobile Arena. Today, we're going to recap this week in pro wrestling. Plus, we're going to be dropping a bonus episode coming up on Memorial Day Monday that is a full recap of everything that went down on both Night of Champions and Double or Nothing. So we'll get both sides of the events this weekend in pro wrestling. Before we get started, I want to remind you that WWE's biggest summer premium live event is going down on August 5th at Ford Field in Detroit. It's WWE SummerSlam, and we're going to give you the chance to be there live with us. I've got 2 tickets on the lower level that we want to give to one lucky Wrestle Chat fan. And here's the deal. There's not a bunch of hoops to jump through either. It's just a simple sign up. If you'll head to WrestleChatPodcast.com/summer. If you're watching right now on YouTube, you can see it right there on your screen. If you're listening, this is the website again, WrestleChatPodcast.com/summer. We're giving away these 2 tickets to the show coming up on July 1st. Now, the SummerSlam's not till August 5th, so you're still going to have plenty of time to make your travel plans. WrestleChatPodcast.com/summer. Jump over there and get signed up right now. You ready to get this thing rolling? I am too. All right. WWE Raw. It got off to a hot start as Cody Rhodes made his way into the building. He was attacked by his Night of Champions opponent, Brock Lesnar. Boy, this beating was brutal. It was stiff, and it left the American Nightmare laying in front of a garage door back in the back with a mangled arm after Brock smashed it with a beer keg. There's been so many that say that Cody is going to need to experience his own hard times on his road to the WWE Championship. Claim that title that his father never could. Well, I think that every interaction that Cody has with Brock Lesnar only helps support that theory of his own hard times. You know, I read recently that it was Brock Lesnar, his idea to dominate John Cena at SummerSlam and to take him to Suplex City. Suplex after suplex after suplex. I could totally see Brock saying, if Cody needs to have his own hard time story, then he needs Brock Lesnar in his path. And I'll be honest, I don't disagree with that. There's not a better opponent to put Cody through hard times. And if you want to add another little callback to Dusty's story, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Cody with his arm in a cast following his bout with Brock at Night of Champions. Dusty had the leg cast. I could see Cody with an arm cast, although Cody's might be real. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I love how the show started with the most important story, Cody and Brock. We were reminded of that story halfway through the show, and we finished the show with that story as well. The interaction between Triple H and Cody there in the locker room. Triple H saying, I can tell by looking at it, your arm is broken. Cody saying, I will fight Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. Another highlight of Raw this week is another match that has no championship implications at Night of Champions, and that's Becky Lynch She's taking on Trish Stratus. This one built to a personal story quite quickly, and both ladies have done it so well. Trish has done a great job from the beginning of this feud, and all the really great heels, they do things like this, and that is they say stuff that, well, it isn't factually wrong. In fact, many times they're very accurate in what they say, but it's how they say it. They always do it with a twist of arrogance, of self-gratification. Hey, look at me. Like we owe them something. Trish pointed out that because of what she's done for the women's division is the only reason that there's a place for Becky to do what she's doing right now. It's not a lie, but the way she says it is just so stinking arrogant. Becky, great on the stick too, with language and a rhythm that I'm not even going to try to attempt here on this podcast. One thing Becky did say that I will attempt to repeat is, you've done things that would only give me nightmares. And if you think barking like a dog is embarrassing, just wait until I whip you at Night of Champions. Welcome to the big time. Woof woof. Wow. This clearly was a callback to a much, much different time in WWE, back when Trish was embarrassed with Mr. McMahon and him making her bark like a dog. You can search that on YouTube if you would like to see that. Before we move over to TBS and AEW Dynamite, I want to ask you, have you taken a minute to check out the World Wrestling Trivia app yet? Man, this thing is great. Daniel Butler, a friend of the Wrestle Chat podcast, has developed a really fun app. There are a ton of trivia questions in here with topics from the Attitude Era, WCW, the 90s, the 2000s, just added the 2010s and beyond, AEW, and there's one category that can feature all of them, and you never know what's going to pop up until it does. It's called All Eras. Plus, this app also has a community area where you can play other fans in the versus mode, where I beat Michael here on the show last week. There are polls that you, the fans, can also add your own questions to. It's pretty cool. In fact, we just loaded one question up there in the polls section asking who your favorite masked wrestler of all time is. Go check that out and vote on it, and we'll talk about those results here on the show next week. The best part about the World Wrestling Trivia app, it's absolutely free. Head over to worldwrestlingtrivia.com to check it out right now and search for it in the App Store to download it today. A big thank you to Daniel and the World Wrestling Trivia app for being a sponsor of the Wrestle Chat podcast. All right, AEW Dynamite. Just like Sunday's pay-per-view, even this episode is coming to us from Las Vegas, just across the street from the T-Mobile Arena at the MGM Grand. A lot of people talking about the trios match where the House of Black took on Blake Christian, AR Fox, and Metalik. But it wasn't because of the match itself that got everybody buzzing on social media. It was because of the lighting that was chosen in this match to light the crowd. One guy posted that he thought that he was on an acid trip. I personally thought that there was something wrong with the feed and that for a minute the signal was scrambled on my television. It was just the production lighting choice that they used on the crowd. Very, very different. Something you got to see here. I'll put the picture up. Look at that. I mean, possibly this is an experiment. We'll have to wait and see if there's a repeat of it. Let us know in the comments. Do you like this? If you watched it, did you like the lighting here? It messed with me for a minute until my eyes kind of adjusted and I realized what it was. I think one of the best stories AEW has told yet is this match with Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and MJF for the AEW title. All four of these guys, they've been with AEW for so long. From the very start, many of them at the very first Double or Nothing, but it's the vignettes for me that AEW has shot with the challengers that have really changed the game in this match. The way they've taken the time, they've slowed down, they've told each of their stories each and every week on the way to this title match. I'll be honest, for me, it is a difference maker. It has told the story. It's allowed you to invest in these guys, and it's allowed you to pick a favorite. I mean, if you're an MJF guy, great. If you're a Darby Allin guy, you've got plenty to build on there. If you're a Jungle Boy Jack Perry fan, if that's your choice in this match, man, you've got so much there as well, and how Christian nurtured him and helped him make his way in AEW. Or Sammy Guevara, you've seen how Chris Jericho took him under his wing. I mean, they have done a fabulous job. Tony Khan, great job on this, and everybody involved in making those. Clearly, it'll be the main event of Double or Nothing with a stacked card. We'll get to that rundown here shortly. Now, no real surprise here, but we found out that the very first AEW Collision, a brand new show, is going to come to us live on TNT June 17th from Chicago, a new show on Saturday nights. Tickets went on sale yesterday, and the place is nearly sold out already. Tony Khan did say on his media call this week that he's purposefully keeping surprises under wraps, and I absolutely love him for that. I know in this day and age, keeping surprises in pro wrestling is difficult, but you notice we don't speculate much, if any, on perceived rumors here on this show. Being surprised is a part of the fun. Part of the fun of being a fan, for me at least. So to see this effort from Tony to keep some stuff covered until we see it on TV is commended. I'm excited about that. We're hoping to be at the show in Chicago on the 17th. Make sure you let us know if you're going to be there. We'd love to hook up if we end up making it there, okay? Sunday night live on pay-per-view from the T-Mobile Arena, AEW presents Double or Nothing. I'm going to give you a rundown of that card, and then remember, a special post pay-per-view recap episode is going to drop on Memorial Day Monday. Here we go. Double or Nothing. AEW Women's World Championship. We've got Jamie Hayter, who has been confirmed to be injured, taking on Toni Storm. You know, I don't really like it when titles are stripped. I mean, I'd rather them, find some way to get the match into the ring. But maybe you also don't tell everyone that they're hurt, because I think now, unless there's a twist, which I would absolutely love, I would expect to see Toni Storm walk out with the Women's Championship after Double or Nothing on Sunday. We got the World Tag Team Championships. FTR, the champions, taking on Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. The AEW TNT Championship ladder match. Wardlow versus Christian Cage. They've done a pretty good job of telling this story as well, so I'm excited to see where this goes. I mean, it is a ladder match. That leans in Christian's favor, but it's a Wardlow. A big guy on a ladder, that just means he falls harder, and it could be on top of Christian Cage. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of expect Wardlow to come out on top of this. We'll recap after that match coming up on Monday. The TBS Championship, you got Jade Cargill taking on Taya Valkyrie. Jade has held this title for a long time. I kind of expect a switch here to give Jade maybe a little rest and take some time off and give a new push to a relative newcomer, Taya Valkyrie, in this match. So, AEW International Championship. This is very interesting. It is a blackjack battle royal where Orange Cassidy is going to be part of the battle royal. There'll be 21 members in this battle royal. So it's Orange Cassidy versus 20 other people. Is he going to be able to eliminate enough people and be able to not be eliminated to be able to hang on to his title? We'll find out. How about this one? Anarchy in the Arena match. Blackpool Combat Club. That's Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta taking on the Elite. Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. It is Anarchy in the Arena match. The last time we saw one of these matches, we saw somebody bring a can of gasoline to the ring. That's how crazy, thank you, Eddie Kingston. That's how crazy these matches can get. And then, speaking of crazy, an unsanctioned match. Chris Jericho is taking on Adam Cole, baby. And, AEW is washing their hands of this match. So anything goes here. And then last but not least, the main event, AEW World Championship with MJF, the champion, taking on Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and Darby Allin. I expect MJF to somehow weasel his way out with the Triple B. But we'll have to wait around and find out. I'm excited to watch this pay-per-view. It's going to be a fun show coming up on Sunday at 7 o'clock Central. And you can watch that on Bleacher Report or wherever you may buy pay-per-views. That's how you can watch Double or Nothing this weekend. Before we run over SmackDown this week, have you had a chance to run over to WrestleChatPodcast.com yet? We just launched about 6 brand new t-shirts. And we don't charge for this. I mean, we're brand new. This is only our 9th episode. But you could help us out. And if you like the podcast, we love it that you subscribe. We love that you watch or listen every single week. We'd love it, too, if you wanted to sport a Wrestle Chat t-shirt. You can check those out right there on the website. They're right there on the homepage, and they deliver to you quickly as well. There are a couple of different variations of colors and textures in the material, and they're all absolutely fantastic. You should check them out over at WrestleChatPodcast.com. If you do, we want to give you a shout-out. Let us know. If you grab a t-shirt, let us know you grabbed one. Send us a picture of you in it when you get it, and we'll give you a shout out and throw your picture up on the video feed of this podcast when you do. WrestleChatPodcast.com, right there on the front page. Check out those t-shirts and grab one when you can, all right? Friday Night SmackDown on Fox clearly taped as all the superstars are already overseas for Night of Champions. Much like Raw, SmackDown started with the most important story and ended with the most important story as well. The cracks in the foundation for the Bloodline continued to grow. And we saw more of that this week when Jimmy Uso stood up to Roman Reigns in the opening backstage segment. What is Jimmy thinking? How do you challenge the head of the table? He is. At least it looks like it anyway. Roman was quick to remind Jimmy of what it was like when they were kids. Roman whipped him then, and he'll whip him now. You know that's going to lead to something sooner than later, and I'm here for it. Is it at today's pay-per-view? Well, we'll have to wait and see, unless you're watching this after Night of Champions, in which case, you already know. We saw this crack grow once again when the Usos came out for the KO show. The guests were supposed to be Roman and Solo, but it was the Usos who answered the call when KO decided to introduce his guests. When KO echoed everything that Sammy had been saying for weeks to Jimmy and Jay about his thoughts on the Bloodline and how Roman was using him. Jimmy finally snapped, saying, "When it comes to the day ones, I am the tribal chief." Immediately, Roman's music hit. Uh-oh. The head of the table is headed to the ring. You may be like us here at the Wrestle Chat Podcast, gearing up for Night of Champions. For the people over in Saudi, this is a WrestleMania level event. I've got the rundown for you for the pay-per-view right here, right now. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens taking on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. The World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth freaking Rollins versus AJ Styles. Man, I'm excited about this match right here because I think we're going to see a whole new era. Of course, we'll get to see a champion on Raw again, and I'm excited about this. If AJ wins, we're all assuming he's going to jump over to Raw. He'd have to be a Raw fighting champion, right? But there's a lot of things that go with AJ as well. No title for this match, but it's Becky Lynch taking on Trish Stratus. Love this story. I expect it to continue after this match at Night of Champions, but I'm excited to see what happens in this match. The Raw Women's Championship match has Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Bianca still with a Raw Women's Championship, but only wrestles on SmackDown. Maybe we see a swap of some kind with titles here. I don't know, because that leads us to our next match, the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley taking on Natalya. Maybe after those two matches, they can flop titles and get in the ring, shake each other's hand, and trade them. I don't know. Intercontinental Championship match is going to be fun too. It's Gunther taking on Mustafa Ali, and of course, hometown hero Mustafa. But I fully expect Gunther to take home the Intercontinental Championship. Going to be a fun show. It's going to be an amazing weekend of pro wrestling, and man, it already is. I'm excited for Night of Champions. I'm excited for Double or Nothing. Hope you'll join us coming up on Memorial Day Monday for a full recap of both pay-per-views. But before we go, let's take a second to remember what this weekend is really all about. There's a special breed, a special breed of men and women who put on their gear, who, they lace up their boots, but they don't climb into a wrestling ring. They climb into a tank, or they jump in a plane, or maybe they jump out of a plane. Maybe they climb into a submarine. They got arms strapped to them at all times, and many of them stormed the beaches of Normandy. They valiantly fought through ambushes. They challenged tyranny with their last breath because it was important that this land was kept free. You know, many of them would probably shake their heads at what's going on in this country today, but I'll be damned to let any of them have died in vain. To those brave men and women who stared death in the face and didn't blink, we remember you this Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this week's Wrestle Chat podcast. I'm the Ant-Man. Michael will be back with me next week. I'll see you here on Monday for a special pay-per-view recap, and I hope you'll join me then. Thanks for being a part of the Wrestle Chat podcast.